Hello Virgo, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Jen with Bohemian Path Tarot, and today we're doing February readings. I've got the Star Seeker Tarot here. This is the pocket-sized edition. I got it off of Etsy, and the seller also sells like a larger or more sort of standard sized edition. I like the pocket size because it's kind of easier to shuffle, which I'm going to do in a moment. But before I do, I've got the standard disclaimer, right? This is a general reading for a general Virgo audience. So broad strokes here. It's not quite the same as a personal reading. It might really resonate with you, or it might resonate here and there. Take what resonates as it resonates, leave the rest for another Virgo. And I invite you to check out the videos for all of your major placements. So do check out the video for your sun sign, your rising sign, and your moon sign. Okay, that said, I'm going to go ahead and shuffle now. And I fast forward the video over the shuffling part. So I'll catch up with you just as I'm about to lay out the cards for your reading. See you there. Okay, Virgo, let's see what we've got. Okay, the Page of Swords, the Moon, the Fool, and let's see, this is the Five of Wands. Okay. So we're starting February with a bit of chaotic energy here. The Five of Wands can be a little bit of chaos. Sometimes that indicates that there's some sort of a bit of ego friction around you. It usually shows up in sort of co-workers or neighbors or family members having ideas or having opinions, wanting to be heard, and there being a little friction. So for anyone who has like a job, you know, in the sort of 9 to 5 kind of situation, this might be, you know, a team project or, you know, a work environment where people are maybe not pulling their weight, but having opinions or blaming other people for not pulling their weight, or maybe some confusion about deadlines, or, you know, kind of people, you know, pointing fingers at other people for not, you know, managing their deadlines, that sort of thing. And it can happen where leadership, like real leadership, is required, and there's kind of faux leadership happening where people are putting their opinions in, but not really showing true leadership, you know, just kind of puffing around, wanting to be heard, but not really carrying their weight, sort of thing. It might require you to be diplomatic as you actually help people meet their deadlines, or help them delegate more efficiently, that sort of thing. It's people around you having sort of ego issues. You tend to be one that doesn't have that sort of problem. You can just kind of get the work done, or you kind of see what details are being missed, and or you have a better sense of organization and planning and that sort of thing, so you can just kind of get to the organization of it without getting, you know, an ego attachment to it. You just kind of want to get to the work of it and get it done. So it could be something like that. Another way this can show up, like in a family situation, like if you're planning, say, a wedding or a family event like that, It could also be, and I'm sorry, my heart goes out to you if it's anything like this. This happened in my family, actually, like a funeral or a memorial or an event like that, where emotions are heightened, understandably heightened, I should say. And people have strong feelings about how maybe a ceremony should go, or maybe dates or music, or even maybe the splitting of property, or kind of the breakdown of a family home, or that sort of a thing. It could be something like that. In terms of a wedding, it could be the bride has one idea and the mother-in-law to be has her own opinions, and bridesmaids, and that's always tricky to negotiate, and everybody wants to be seen and heard and validated, and for their opinions to matter. But so that can be a thing to negotiate. But in any case, it doesn't have to be a fight. It's just kind of about managing details and making sure everybody's sort of heard, while still getting stuff done. And it seems like you're the one who has the capacity to actually get the work done without getting bogged down in the ego stuff, if that makes sense. The other way this can sometimes show up, and sometimes also show up in alongside maybe the family event planning or the kind of work stuff. This comes up for me sometimes when I have a lot of stuff going on in my own life. Like, say I've got that job situation where there's a lot going on at work, but maybe I'm also applying on the down low for another job, or I've also got medical appointments, and I have to pick up a present for my a birthday present for my brother, and I have to remember to mail off something for my Etsy shop. That kind of a thing where you've got a lot on your calendar. So it could be around whatever this sort of drama or this kind of ego situation that you're managing outside of you. There's also kind of a lot on your calendar that you have to manage as well. So it looks like February could be, there's a lot on your plate in February. But it's not that you can't manage it. It's just a lot of stuff that you have to be detail oriented, and you'll want to make sure that you're on top of your calendar, right? And, kind of dodging other people's, or not dodging, but just mindful of other people's ego needs. Let's put it that way. Now, the next thing we have here is the Page of Swords. That typically indicates a time or a phase when there are communications coming in. And nowadays, this is a lot about social media. Take it as it resonates for you. This could also be something like, if you are looking for another job, this could be an invitation to an interview, or putting out your resume looking for jobs, something like that. But nowadays, this is a lot about communications through social media, working on your branding, building your branding, putting out content, even meeting people through social media, or collaborating through social media, that sort of thing. But there's often a component of kind of building or communicating your ideas, communicating like your brand, or building your brand, or polishing your brand through your social media. Another thing that happens too with social media is kind of getting more clear on like your own ideas, your own philosophies, sort of as you polish your brand or as you put out content. The one thing I would say is it's not about being a commodity, right? It's not about selling yourself or selling product. This is more about ideas. This is more about your philosophy. So it could even be more about teaching or sharing information, or even learning. This could also be about taking a class or becoming involved in some sort of learning environment like that. So let's leave that piece. Take it as how that resonates for you. You'll know kind of where that fits into your February, the next phase for you. Now, the next card here is the moon. This tends to play out in a couple of ways depending on the context for you. So for some people, this can indicate a time when there is maybe a lack of clarity when you're waiting for answers to come in, when you're in a waiting phase, especially if you have been, if this Page of Swords is about putting out resumes, putting out, interviewing for jobs. There could be a bit of a waiting phase for you, waiting to hear for answers. That doesn't mean that you won't hear an answer. It just means there could be a bit of a delay before you do get that answer, or before you do get that right fit, or there could be, like, when they have you go through a series of interviews, like first you have to talk to the one person, and then there's an HR person, and then there's a director person. Like there could be a series of interviews before you actually land the job. Could be something like that. For some people, the moon could be something a bit different, depending on your industry or your interests. This could be an artistic phase. For some people, the moon is associated with creativity and the arts, and the moon can be like a time when you're fruitful or inspired and creating an artistic project, or working on an artistic project. Take it as it resonates for you. Finally, we have the Fool at sort of the end of February. Now, for those of you who are, as I mentioned, in that phase where you are applying or looking for jobs or interviewing or something, this could certainly indicate a move to a new position or a new job. The Fool is, of course, a new start, a new beginning, a fresh chapter. For those of you who are artistically inclined, as we discussed with the moon here, this could be a new phase with like a new artistic project, or a new, what do you call it when you're like, when you have a new series of works? Like sometimes, I'm not like a visual artist, but you know how some artists have their blue period, or you have like, you're inspired by a particular, like maybe you move from watercolors to photography, or that you have a new sort of area of inspiration. That's what this could signify. For some people, it could just be an absolute blank slate. Like maybe this phase, this chaotic bit, if it's at work, it could be the kind of thing where you leave a workplace that is too chaotic to branch out on your own and maybe do an entrepreneurial thing, or maybe not even have a plan at all. You just want to be free of the chaos. Or it could be that this chaos, if it was maybe planning your own wedding, the Fool could certainly signify that brand new start in a marriage, or something like that. If it's your wedding, the Fool could certainly signify that new chapter as in your married life, something like that. But the Fool indicates it can be a grand new beginning or a small new beginning, a move to a new department at work, a move across the country, a move to a new apartment, a move to a new program in college. You know, you'll know where in your life you're starting a fresh chapter. The inherent advice here in the Fool is to feel free to enjoy the journey. There is an element here of not being attached to a particular outcome, not having control over the journey, as it were. It's being aware that you're sort of a newbie, that maybe you won't know all the rules or you won't have all the skills going into this new chapter, but you're going to learn along the way. This is a really interesting reading for you, Virgo, in part because it's kind of a mixed bag, right? And I'd say for someone who is usually, pretty organized and has a place for everything, this kind of chaotic moment where you may be kind of organizing things for other people, and where you have this phase where you're clearly and concisely sharing sort of your brand or truths about yourself or announcing something about yourself. Then we kind of go off in this other direction where there may not be the same kind of clarity, or you're experimenting artistically with how you may be feeling about the world, or maybe seeing the world, or maybe musing about the world. And then there's this phase of letting go of control and starting this new chapter. So I'm going to leave it there, Virgo. Thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed this reading, please feel free to like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. In any case, take good care. Until next time, bye for now.